Tonight begins with the report, which has made the news all week, of allegation of Christian genocide in Nigeria. Now, a new bill before the United States Congress is seeking visa restrictions and asset freezes on members of the Miyetti Allah Cattle Breeders Association of Nigeria, MACBAN, and Miyetti Allah Kautalhure. This is part of resolutions by the U.S. government to tackle what it describes as violations of religious freedom in Nigeria. Following the allegation, President Trump has directed Congressman Riley Moore and Chairman Tom Cole of the House Appropriations Committee to investigate the alleged killings of Christians and report back to him. Meanwhile, the Nigerian government had, however, rejected the claim, clarifying that the nation's constitution protects freedom of religion and worship. Fresh reports, however, reveal that the U.S. military has drafted plans for potential action in the country. Now, Director of the Department of State Service from Northwest State have met in Kaduna to review prevailing security concerns and strengthen counter-terrorism strategies across the region. They met alongside their counterparts from the FCT, Niger, and Plateau states in a session hosted by the Kaduna DSS Command, focused on enhancing intelligence sharing, improving interagency collaboration. Now, Kaduna State Governor Senator Ubasani, represented by the Commissioner for Internal Security and Home Affairs, Sule Shaibu, said intelligence-driven cooperation remains central to tackling insecurity in the Northwest and beyond. The governor described the DSS as a key institution for Nigeria's internal stability and commended the service for its role in strengthening national security. For a deep dive into the development, I'm being joined by international journalist Adeniyi Kunnu. He's, former assistant director of the, we will be expecting a former assistant director of the DSS, Mr. Dennis Amachree. But Mr. Kunnu, you're welcome. Thank you very much for joining us tonight. Mr. Kunnu, it sounds like America is slowly building a case. It's shaping a story about Nigeria. Let me be direct and ask, do you think this is genuine concern about violence in Nigeria, or is it just part of a wider political script where Washington wants more leverage in West Africa?
I want to stand firmly as one whose ancestry is entrenched in the soil of Nigeria to say this is not indicative of genuine concern for my own country. And I'm saying it clearly today because the history is well documented regarding how violence has become second nature, especially in recent times in northern Nigeria. And there's absolutely nothing that can be done at this moment to convince me that the leadership of my dear country, Nigeria, is interested in dealing with the enemies of state. In 2018, let me remind us, when communities in Lugu and Goma woke up to the death of women, pregnant women and children, and some adults alike, President Muhammadu Buhari's defense minister in his first time said they should learn to live with their neighbors. If you look at the recent attacks we have in the northern part of the country, the pastor in question called that they have an inkling regarding the attack to their communities, and the military did nothing about it, and 13 hours after they were attacked. If you look at the past 24 months, there has been consistent killing of people. Please mark my words carefully because this is a global media house. There has been killings here, and I want to tell you something that's been happening in the US here. It is all over the news. Let me tell you, we can continue to hide our head in the soil, but anything that the US takes up, the world takes up. And the people that will be affected by the consequences of the inaction of government will definitely not feel it now until the real fire starts crackling everywhere. So I'm simply telling you here today and now that whatever movement you see them make, it is simply because there's a smoke and there's a fire to their buttocks, and they do not, let me tell you, these people are not interested in calling out these persons by their names and dealing with them. Do you know what I'm putting out to Donald Trump now? I want Donald Trump to ask President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, where is the over 400 names that President Muhammadu Buhari did not act upon handed over to them by the United Arab Emirates, who have been sponsoring terrorism. That is when you know that these people don't love Nigeria and Nigeria. Excuse me, beyond and above the Christian killing narrative, which is established by facts and figures. The fact that people will be taking motorbikes into communities, attending weddings of politicians, getting turbaned by politicians whose obvious job is to kill people, tells you that government itself appears to be benefiting from this dastardly act of the enemies of this country.
Mr. Kunnu, these are very interesting facts that you are raising here. It begs to ask whether there's a communication gap when it comes to continuity in government from Buhari to Tinubu. However, let's get back to this bill now. The bill calls for visa bans and asset freezes for alleged militia leaders. But at the same time, Nigeria's own security agencies are still struggling to define what counts as terrorism or what banditry is. So does this show, or does it reveal our weak internal communication, like you were just telling, and also perhaps maybe weak justice system as well?
I like us to really understand that we must choose our words deliberately here. The high level of leadership in any country is the presidency. It therefore means that if President Muhammadu Buhari did not communicate the issues in his administration to the current leadership before he left office, then I need to say very clearly here that the people who operated within that communication office, they really should not have had the job in the first place. There are always handover notes with enough explanatory statements made regarding the successes you have made with the problems you inherited or that came up in administration and the propositions that you made regarding how to solve it. So when you talk about communication gap, I beg to differ with every respect to you. Perhaps you're just being modest with the issue. Now, this is not to actually undermine the great efforts of the Nigerian military, but this is to tell you about the capability. Excuse me, please. Let me remind us of what you know as a journalist of reputation and what News Central also understands. When President Muhammadu Buhari took over, there were army officers who had been mutinous under President Goodluck Jonathan. And the reason they did that was simple. They said people within the army were giving information to Boko Haram about where they were, about their strategy. In 2021, let me remind us.
Mr. Kunnu, I would love to let you continue. But we have to go on a break. These are interesting details you're giving us. However, when we come back, we're going to have Dr. Dennis Amachree join us. He is the Assistant Director of the DSS. Is that, I hear that he is already here with us, so I might as well just go ahead with you, sir. Welcome, Doctor. Thank you very much for coming on tonight. So, Doctor, the U.S. Congress says it's acting on religious persecution. Nigeria insists it's really about resource conflicts. It's about failed governance. These are two different readings. Now, how much of this confusion is Nigeria's own making in considering documentation or the lack of it? Is communication, like I asked Mr. Kunnu there, is it the issue?
First of all, I say hello to my friend Kunnu. I've not seen him for quite a while. You see, what we are talking about is something that has caught up with us. It's like karma catching up with us, because we have been saying this. Security professionals have been saying it. Political analysts have been saying this. That look, we have to handle these people. Now, I don't know, the thing is that we are now all reacting because the United States have just sent a little tweet and everybody is now shaking. Now, Miyetti Allah has been operating as if they own the country. You know, I know when they were openly placating Miyetti Allah, you know, especially as it concerns those foreign bandits that were brought into Nigeria. You know, and Miyetti Allah has not been able to even get those people out because apparently they feel they are part of them, you know. So you see, we are at a crossroads in Nigeria where we have to, you know, identify the problem and solve that problem. If we continue playing that politics...
Dr. Amachree, I'm happy that you said identify the problem. That seems to be the problem itself. It seems to be one of nomenclature. What's the difference between banditry, pastoralists, Boko Haram, and terrorists? How can we differentiate all of these, or how should the government have done so?
Well, it's so simple. It's so simple a thing. We know that terrorists have been disturbing Nigeria, right from insurgency. Then, of course, the bandits that were brought in, we tried to even buy Tucano jets from the United States, and the United States said they are not going to sell it to us because they don't want us to buy Tucano and they use it on civilian population. Then the government went to court, and the court now declared the bandits as terrorists. And then we took that judgment to the United States before they sold us the Tucano. I think anybody who is very observant knows this particular story. You know, so these bandits have been with us. We call them bandits, we later call them terrorists, but what they are actually doing is terrorizing the society. Kidnapping, killing, burning down houses, doing all kinds of things. And of course, the whole idea is to send them out of the country. Now, if our military is serious, they should tell the commander-in-chief that these are the people that are causing the problem. We know them. They've been fighting them for years. So why don't we just, for once, forget about politics and then deal with them?
Okay. Dr. Amachree,
let's send them out of the country.
Now, Dr. Amachree, I'm gonna jump off of something you said. Now, Nigeria wanted to buy these jets. We asked the U.S. and they said, no, you can't use them on civilians. We were able to identify these bandits as terrorists. Now, if we had stuck to that nomenclature, and let me ask Mr. Kunnu, would we find ourselves here where it's now a situation of religious genocide? If we had stuck to bandits as terrorists, do you think we would have gotten here? Or do you think that this was nonetheless going to happen? Mr. Kunnu, please.
Well, I think that in my candid estimation that Dr. Amachree talked about, we have actually identified them long before now. And why have I? Former Kaduna State Governor Nasir El-Rufai said, while he was in office a few years ago, that they can hear everything being said by these bandits, that they pick their conversations and all of that. That means that these people that have been designated terrorists already know. And I do not understand what is the relationship between the people that have been making advocacy for the United States of America to help you eliminate the people that are disturbing your own country. Excuse me, there is no warfare across the world that is won by any single country. Military warfare on a global scale, it is at best successful when there's collaboration among those whose strategies align. And we know that the country has a long-standing relationship with the United States of America in terms of arms and ammunition purchase and in terms of military collaboration. So if you look at the way people, especially those whose hands are not clean in quote, have been running from pillar to post since the U.S. began to speak strongly to the issue of this killing in this country, you get to understand that some of them never knew it was going to come to a stage where this would happen. So while Dr. Amachree has talked about identifying these particular people, I want to move from there to say these people have been identified. Perhaps they need to expand the scope of their identification and do something decisive. Let me remind those who care to listen that in same 2018, when people were killed in Logo and Goma, in Benue, the spokesperson of MAGBAN, this same MAGBAN, came out and said that former Benue State Governor Samuel Otom didn't have the right to ban open grazing in Benue. Don't take my word for it. Go there into your archive and dig it up. and a duly elected governor makes a law to stop a problem,
and the
spokesman of this same man is saying that a governor doesn't have the right to make a law, and all the leadership that has been spoken of, they kept quiet. Listen, let me tell you this.
Mr. Kunnu, I'd love to let you continue, but I have to prorate the time here between you two gentlemen. My apologies, but I will come back to you with another question. But for Dr. Amachree, the Department of State Service says it's mapping new anti-terror strategies. But the timing is interesting. I mean just when Washington is saying, okay, we're going to come in and invade. So if Washington follows through with this so-called accountability measure, is what they're calling, what real impact would it have on Nigeria and Nigeria's sovereignty? Dr. Amachree, my apologies. We're going to try and fix that from here. But let's come back to Mr. Kunnu. Mr. Kunnu, I hope you heard that question there. Now, what impact is this going to have on Nigeria's sovereignty? Let's also note that they are cutting aid as well. What sectors? How will this affect Nigerians? Mr. Kunnu, please.
It will affect lots of people because some persons, businesses, concerns, daily life is hinged to the United States of America. There are certain things that lots of businesses will have to stop her from. Maybe if it took you 3-4 days to have certain paperwork processed, if you have business concern in the United States of America, now it could take you a month because it's going to be twice, triple, or quadruple scrutiny here because of the indiscretions of many years of our leaders. Now, when people are banned, for instance, let me even tell you this. Before this time, people that are going to study in the United States of America first, many of their children are being denied visa. Those have been duly granted admission. Just same because the leadership of the country did not enable what I call proper accountability in terms of the security of lives and property. And that's a fact.
Okay.
There are lots of exchange programs that have gone on without problem even before President Donald Trump came in.
All right then.
Now, because the world has been watching, and let me even tell you this, please.
You've got just 15 seconds, Mr. Kunnu. Go ahead.
The technology we make this stuff belong to this country. So while we are lying to Nigerians here, they are listening to every conversation, watching every move. The technology belongs to them. So let's stop this hypocrisy.
Stop the hypocrisy.
Remains intact. We try to do the right thing. I'm sorry that I'm going ballistic on your program, but this country has caused up lots of problems that it should have helped us.
All right, Mr. Kunnu, your passion shows through even here in the studio. Thank you very much. Dr. Amachree, our apologies, we were unable to rectify that issue with your sound there. Hopefully when we have you back next time, it's going to be, well, with no problems. But thank you very much, gentlemen, for joining us tonight. Now, coming up tonight, NTA journalists in Yobe State allegedly assaulted in the line of duty. By who? Well, if you stick around, we'll tell you. Welcome back. You're watching Tonight on News Central. A reminder of our top stories. U.S. Congress proposes new visa restrictions on members of Miyetti Allah amid allegations of religious intolerance in Nigeria. President Tinubu swears in new ministers as he holds first Federal Executive Council meeting since July. Cameroon swears in President Paul Biya for 8th term in office as world's oldest leader, vows to restore order amid post-election violence. A journalist said to be a staff of the Nigerian Television Authority, Babagana Kolo, was reportedly assaulted at the Yobe House of Assembly complex in Damaturu in Nigeria's northeast. The incident occurred while a group of journalists were waiting to be ushered into the chamber to cover Governor Mai Mala Buni's presentation of the 2026 budget before the legislature. Eyewitnesses said the Chief Security Officer of Yobe Government House, Yakubu Deba, pounced on Kolo and hit him on the face, inflicting injuries in his mouth. The attack reportedly disrupted the media's orderly coverage of the event as journalists threatened to boycott the budget's presentation. It took the intervention of the Commissioner for Information, Abdullahi Bego, for the journalists to continue with the coverage. The state's police commissioner, Emmanuel Ado, has promised to investigate the matter and take appropriate action.
Malatu vote. Voters card more than a state. Ghana men are buying can jato. Ghana men have Malatu Macanamabolo Bodo. Only can fota.
While the Independent National Electoral Commission tries to cross the T's and dot the I's,
Apologies there. We'll bring that report in just a bit. As the 2025 gubernatorial election in Anambra inches closer, residents of Awka, the state capital, say they're prepared to exercise their franchise. Some, however, say their voters' cards are in different states. News Central's Chinwe Ogele interviewed some of the residents and now reports.
Malatu vote. Voters card more than Ebonyi State. Nkane mena ba nka na jato. Nkane mena ebe malatu makana mabulo nyo obodo. Onwe kan futa agbakie me egbe mo ememo wiwe.
While the Independent National Electoral Commission tries to cross the T's and dot the I's, residents of Anambra State are equally looking forward to Saturday when they go to the polls to elect their governor.
Mwaga tukweche toya laikara. Onyamu deboka ka onye ga-ewini obumasi kechukwu. Ka onye ga-achọ ọfụma dozie obodo doma na ogbo na egbu mmadụ ma nsogbe nwe na n'obodo anyị bụ Nigeria, especially n'Igbo a ọdịrọ ọma. Ka Chukwu metụ onye ga-achị n'aka n'obi ọ bụ onye ọbụla Chukwu ghọta echi ka ọ chịa ka ọ bụ onye ga-edozi be anyị be ya adọma. So ihe security anana ba anyị ụda na-achị na ezinụlọ onye ọbụla.
Though some are willing to vote barring all odds, others say until the electoral umpire lives up to expectations, they will rather watch from the sidelines.
Supposed to vote, it is my right to vote, but due to the fact that after voting, then the right of the citizen will not be shown, so they will store our mandate. So I have to keep my voter's card aside. So if INEC will stick to the credible election, then I'm ready to vote.
The people are not worried about the security concerns caused by non-state actors.
Because they have enough securities and everybody is prepared, so nothing will happen that day.
I think the government, they are doing some needful to curb that insecurity situation. They are doing enough to curtail it.
There's yet another set of adults who, for whatever reasons, will not be voting on Saturday.
No, I've not gotten my voter's card.
Hopefully, the relevant authorities saddled with the election process will be up and doing from now until the elections are over with the announcement of results. In Awka for News Central, Chinwe Ogele.
My colleague Austin Azu is among the News Central team on ground for the Saturday election, and he joins me now for a situation report. Austin Azu, thank you very much for joining us. We've seen INEC roll out a detailed timetable for the Anambra governorship election. Campaigns are on, and the big date was set for November 8th. But looking at the field, it's 16 candidates, different party structures. There's already talk about readiness. From what you've seen on ground, how prepared are the parties, especially the smaller parties?
Okay, good evening, Zeno. Currently, we are at Awka, the capital of Anambra State, and throughout today, we follow the process from INEC office down to the police, that's the headquarters, police headquarters, before finally ended up at the CBN. At the CBN, we saw the various political party agents converged at the CBN to at least to monitor the movement of the sensitive materials that INEC is taking to the local government areas. Hopefully that those sensitive materials will be taken to the ward areas that onward movements to the polling unit on Saturday for the election. Let me just begin by adding this, that the police have said that over 50,000 personnel are deployed for this election, and not quite long this evening, we saw the DIG, that's Benjamin Okolo, who has assumed duty as a supervising officer for this election. So everywhere in the state, we have so many presence of security personnel on the ground to provide security and for the voters, and of course the electoral materials, and to INEC officials. And this, according to what INEC said, over 2.8 million eligible voters will be going to the poll on Saturday, and of course elections are expected to be conducted on about 5,718 polling units and 360 326 ward collation centers across the 21 local government areas. For what of time, we have Mr. Thangod. Please come forward. We have Mr. Thangod Onya to bring us to speed. How prepared is he for the election? Okay, Mr. Thangod, how are you? Good evening. Okay, tell us, how prepared are you for this election?
Well, we are prepared. Well for the election. Okay. We are Anambra here. We are arranged for the election, and two again, we are winning an election of Anambra State, free and fair election with security, no security. People, no violence, no problem for Anambra. We don't have any problem for Anambra for election. The election will go well, okay. And people welcome will go well. Will go back well. This office, the security people will guide us, shows that the election will be free and fair.
Okay. Do you have confidence on INEC to conduct free, fair, and acceptable poll to your own particular conscience?
Yes, yes.
Okay, you have it.
I have the confidence for them to conduct the election.
Okay, do you have any worries about this election so far? From what you are saying so far, do you have any worries?
No worries. What I'm seeing for the election, I see the election will be free and fair. No worries.
Okay, thank you, Mr. God. Oh, yeah. Thank you for your time. Okay, that's fine. All right, Zeno, we have heard it from a respondent here who lives at this particular spot. And from what we said earlier on, he just confirmed to us that yes, there are heavy presence of security personnel, and it's expected, and like what he said, that he believes so much in INEC to conduct free, fair, and acceptable. We are looking forward to how this event will unfold in the coming days, precisely on Saturday.
Nigeria's Minister of Finance, Wale Edun, says that the nation has witnessed a visible economic growth trajectory in the last few months, showing signs of strong recovery and investor confidence. Edun was speaking just after the weekly Federal Executive Council meeting. But prior to that, President Tinubu swore in Minister of Science and Technology, as well as Minister of Humanitarian Affairs and Poverty Reduction. News Central's House correspondent Bettina Welly here reports.
At the Federal Executive Council meeting, the Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy, Wale Edun, announced that Nigeria's GDP grew by 4.23% in the second quarter of 2025, the highest in a decade outside the post-COVID rebound.
In Q2 2025, Nigeria's GDP grew by 4.23%, the highest in a decade outside the COVID rebound. As the consumer spending basket published earlier this year shows, our citizens now spend maybe about half of their income on basic needs, food, shelter, and clothing. And that's compared with almost 90% previously. This signals a country moving from subsistence towards productivity and indeed affluence.
Edun also confirmed Nigeria's removal from the Financial Action Task Force grey list, describing it as a major milestone in strengthening financial integrity and investor confidence. President Bola Tinubu commended the progress, emphasizing that the oversubscription of the Eurobond reflects international confidence in Nigeria's economic direction.
Despite the political headwind and the fear of our people, we continue to engage with our partners. The success of the 2.3 billion bond, our subscription, oversubscribed, is the most at this stage. So the task ahead is immense. We are engaging the world diplomatically.
Nigeria's removal from the Financial Action Task Force grey list, FATF grey list, marks a major milestone in strengthening our financial integrity and confidence.
In a related development, Dr. Bernard Doro and Dr. Kingsley Ude have been sworn in as Minister of Humanitarian Affairs and Poverty Reduction and Minister of Innovation, Science and Technology, respectively.
As a Minister of the Government of the Federation, I will discharge my duties to the best of my ability, faithfully and in accordance with the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
With deepening fiscal and policy reforms, President Tinubu says that the current administration will continue to attract both local and foreign investment in a bid to drive job creation, infrastructural renewal, and inclusive growth. In Abuja, for News Central, Bettina Nweli.
The Zambian government is looking to understudy Nigeria's national values character, the cornerstone of the postponed identity project, which was earlier approved by the Federal Executive Council. This was the outcome of the second meeting between NOA officials led by the Director General, Larry Issa Onilu, and Zambian High Commission officials in Nigeria led by Deputy High Commissioner Jennifer Mutembo at the NOA headquarters in Abuja. Addressing the team from the Zambian High Commission, Issa Onilu gave an overview of the operational structure of the agency, from communicating government policies and programs and projects to citizens to collating grassroots feedback to inform decision-making.
The intention of government some 38 years ago when it was founded was to create an agency that is able to reach out to the communities and the grassroots nationwide to deliver government messages and also generate feedback to government. So we don't just convey government messages in terms of policy, projects and programs to Nigerians, not the local government. We also receive what we call feedback, pulse of the nation. And every 2 weeks, this gets to the president, it gets to the National Assembly leadership, it gets to the National Security Advisor, so that they know what people are saying in all the localities.
I can see that you are targeting the generation which is coming. You talked about the schools, the cartoons. That's the important category of people, so that we don't.
The stage is set for treasury functions in Nigerian firms to leverage digital tools like artificial intelligence, blockchain, and data analytics to enhance liquidity management, improve forecasting, and strengthen risk control. This sets the tone at the ACTN Treasury 360 Conference and Exhibition 2025 in Lagos and business. Our business correspondent, Ebere Odo. She witnessed the event and filed in this report.
Multiple banking partners, multiple peers.
The 2025 Conference of Association of Corporate Treasurers of Nigeria, ACTN, brought together top treasury executives, regulators, and financial leaders. The gathering is united by one mission: to advance financial strategy, build resilience, and champion digital transformation across the treasury ecosystems.
See the players within that field, those who are either developing products, applications, solutions, and all that, to then see how we can partner with them and then have them introduce their products, and then us helping them to facilitate that.
In one of the many panel sessions on how to focus treasury functions in Nigeria's corporate environment, the session informed participants to leverage digital tools for enhancing liquidity management, forecasting, and strengthening risk control.
I would say the first skill set that you need to survive in this digital era will be things around your cyber security awareness. You need to understand what is going on. You need to be able to understand how to work with your IT infrastructure to minimize digital fraud prevention. Also, how to integrate with the relevant fintech platform.
Now, participants are calling for greater market intelligence and digital efficiency to navigate ongoing economic reforms and sustain growth.
I would say that the recent spate of economic reforms in Nigeria have been a welcome development. They have helped to improve FX stability, economic stability, and a high level of transparency and visibility within the economy.
You should be able to, kind of predict the future. And by predicting the future, you take proactive steps.
Organizers and participants agreed that the future of treasury management in Nigeria lies in mastering innovation, noting that those who embrace digital transformation today will define the nation's financial direction tomorrow. In Lagos for News Central, Ebere Odo.
God bless you, and God bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
Outside Nigeria now, Cameroon's President Paul Biya has been sworn in for an 8th term amid contested elections that triggered deadly protests. Biya, the world's oldest head of state, secured 53.7% of the votes against opposition leader Issa Shiroma Bakary, 35.2%, according to official records. He took his oath Thursday in Yaoundé, pledging to address national challenges and restore peace. Bakary, a former ally turned rival, claims victory and accuses the government of rigging the election. Now, Pope Leo XIV met Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas at the Vatican for their first in-person talks. They discussed the urgent need to aid civilians in Gaza amid the fragile ceasefire that followed 2 years of conflict, starting with Hamas attack in October 2023. We're on a short break now. When we return, business and sports and also entertainment.
All right, the International Monetary Fund has confirmed that its latest mission to Senegal ended without agreement on a new lending program. Though negotiations are ongoing, IMF mission chief Edward Gemayel said discussions will continue in the coming weeks, noting that Senegal's new government is committed to restoring fiscal credibility after uncovering more than $11 billion in previously undisclosed debt for higher than earlier estimates. Now let's get into the stock market report. Now the Nigerian stock market eased off the gas today as the all-share index slipped by 0.52% to close at 150,026.55 basis points, while the market capped out at 95.32 trillion naira. Now, after a streak of bullish runs, investors seem to be taking profits and testing the market's resilience. Still beneath the numbers, some sectors are quietly defying the downtrend, and that's where today's story gets interesting. Now let's break down where the market's pulse really beats across the sectors. The day's trade painted a mixed picture, with some industries losing steam while others quietly held their ground. From the big banks to the industrial giants, the numbers tell a story of shifting investor sentiment and selective confidence. Now let's see what's happening in the key sectors. Now, the banking sector led the retreat, slipping by 0.56%. Insurance was definitely not spared in this situation, as it also dropped to 0.28%. Oil and gas, barely any movement at all, closing at 0.08%. And consumer goods was also down at 0.06%, while industrial goods was the only lone star shining, rising minimally by 0.2%. So that is how the market wrapped up today.
Now, in the world of entertainment, Nigerian chef and Guinness World Record holder Hilda Bassi has received her second Guinness plaque, this time for cooking the world's largest pot of jollof rice. The chef achieved the remarkable feat in September after preparing a massive 8,780 kg pot of jollof rice during a Lagos cookout. This comes a month after her viral 2023 cooking marathon, which earned her a spot in the Guinness World Records for the longest cooking hours. That's all on entertainment for tonight. My name is Kate Adeogun.
And that's the news tonight. Now, remember to send your eyewitness reports to the WhatsApp number on your screens now. And follow us on social media. We are at News Central TV on all platforms. You can watch News Central live on DSTV channel 422, GoTV channel 23, Star Times 274, Avo TV, and of course on Many thanks for watching. My name is Mazino Appeal.